Hey guys, welcome back. We have a midweek energy update to get into this week. There is a lot happening energetically. We just had our new moon in Libra occur yesterday. Now, today on Wednesday, the 22nd, Neptune will re-enter the sign of Pisces, where he will be through January of this year, and then where he will not be again for another 165 years. So we actually have kind of a rare window period of time opening right now. We need to talk about that in the report for the day. We also have another planet changing signs on Thursday. That would be the sun entering the sign of Scorpio. The first thing, of course, the sun will do in Scorpio is form a square to Pluto as well. Intensity could be a good adjective to describe, especially the emotional energy this week. And there's likely to be a lot of emotional energy. We are on Thursday actually going to have 9 planets in water signs right now, and the majority of them are going to be forming a grand trine with Jupiter in Cancer and Saturn and Neptune retrograding in the sign of Pisces. So this is like an overflow. This is like an inundation. This could be definitely some emotional release, or I don't know, just like an excessive amount of emotional outpouring that could be going on. We have an exact Mercury black moon conjunction happening on Thursday as well, while the sun is square Pluto, and we do have 9 planets in water signs. So I don't know, you guys, there could be some embroiled emotions and tempers going on out there. I do think that there could be some ugly things surfacing. Some demons could be unleashed and running free this week. So we've got some things to talk about, you guys. Let's get into the report. Let's take a deeper dive into all this water energy that we've got coming through this week and see if we can get an idea of where we're at on Wednesday and what perhaps we can expect as we move through the rest of the week and head towards the weekend. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Wednesday, October 22nd, 2025. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the day, where we are narrating the shift of the ages. And if you guys stick with me until the end of this video, I've done a collective tarot reading for us today as well. I like to tap the energy field from more than one modality when I'm doing these energy overviews, just to get an alternative energetic perspective on what's going on out there. So there could be some messages in there for you. That's going to happen at the end of the video. We got a whole bunch of astrology to get into. It is just raining down on us this week, you guys. And there is a lot of water energy going on. So I'm going to be using a lot of watery language in our report for today to emphasize that. So we've got a flood of aspects taking place out there this week, you guys. Thursday especially is just like over the top waterfall of emotions. I would just go ahead and anticipate people to be highly emotional, maybe a bit of irrationality mixed in there as well. This is not a week about like logical, linear, coherent, fact-based thinking. Rather, this is a week about reacting and responding based on emotional triggers, and there's likely to be a lot of them, and they're likely to be powerful, and that's kind of just the nature of things. So just perhaps maybe orient yourself with like to your week with like that consideration in mind, and things may make a lot more sense and make you feel a lot less crazy. Okay, like people are just going to be overreacting, and like a lot of people are going to be emotionally triggered unconsciously or subconsciously in ways that they're not even aware of, that are resulting in these irrational responses. Okay, so all of that being stated up front, let's talk about everything that we do have going on and coming at us this week. Of course, you know, we just as of yesterday had our new moon in Libra occur, but if you recall, if you watched that video, then you know that that alignment, the sun and the moon in the sign of Libra, were coming together at the very end of the sign of Libra. The new moon occurred at 28 degrees of Libra. So therefore, shortly after that alignment occurred and we had our new moon energy take place, the moon left Libra and entered the sign of Scorpio. So right there, that is already kind of setting the tone for things over this next couple of days. We are in black moon energy. The black moon, ruling our fears, worries, insecurities, and doubts, is currently transiting the sign of Scorpio. Whenever we have the moon in the sign where the black moon is located, or the sign opposing the black moon, that is what activates this black moon energy, because the moon is our feelings, and the moon is our emotions, and the moon is what's going on inside of us. And when the moon is making contacts with the black moon, we are likely to feel that energy the most. So twice a month, regardless of the sign where the black moon is currently transiting, it takes the black moon 9 months to transit a sign. Right now we are going through a 9-month journey through the underworld with the black moon transiting through the sign of Scorpio. So of course this is a very like shadowy, kind of like the epitome a bit of what black moon energy might be considered to be. So it's just likely to be very powerful. Black moon transiting the sign of Scorpio often is associated with fears of loss. It can make people jealous, hyper competitive. We don't want to lose. It can also be, of course, therefore then a little bit ruthless or maybe vicious. And this week, not only do we have the black moon activated by the moon's transit through the sign of Scorpio, but Mercury, which is the messenger planet and rules our minds and what we're thinking about and communication, what we're talking about, what we're saying, also aligns exactly with the black moon. This happens once a year, and this is our week, okay? And it's a special one this week because not only do we have the Mercury black moon alignment, which is likely to focus the mind on those black moon issues, of course, making them even more relevant and more prominent in our experience, but the moon is also on the same day going to be coming into that exact alignment. The moon will be at the proper degree range in the sign of Scorpio, transiting on Thursday, while Mercury and the black moon are in their conjunction together. So mentally and emotionally, there is like an immersion with the shadow side black moon energy. And also on that same day, the sun enters the sign of Scorpio and squares Pluto, who's one of the rulers of Scorpio, where the sun and Mercury and the black moon, and don't forget also Mars, the other ruler of the sign of Scorpio. Mars is in a conjunction with Mercury and the black moon and the moon as well. So this is, as I think I mentioned in my intro, like, the demons are running wild this week, okay? I would definitely, it is highly indicated to me that, people's dark sides showing through or being exposed, the underbelly of things kind of being exposed, ugly truths emerging or being uncovered or rising to the surface. And generally, this is just delving into the deeper, darker side of things, or maybe feeling some type of an immersion in the underworld of our own psyches or experiences somehow. Like, the shadows are coming out to play this week, you guys. And with Mercury, the messenger planet, being right there as well, people are probably going to be talking about it. You could be reading about it. You could be hearing about it. This is also just probably going to more prominently feature things of a more darker tone, like abuse, corruption, scandals, addictions, toxicity or toxic attachments of any kind. And also perhaps things to do with like self-sabotage or self-destructive cycles and things like that. Now, whenever, and I always say this when we're talking about the black moon, I personally feel like we go through the experience of that energy each month, because each time, these things are triggered within us, it provides an opportunity for us to gain an awareness of them. And that's sort of, when there's a light shown in the darkness, the power and the fear associated with that darkness is diminished. And the more light that is exposed, or the more that that darkness is exposed to light, the less and less and less power it maintains. And that's really why the black moon holds power, is because it's rooted in our lack of awareness. These are our shadow issues. Therefore, it's largely what we are unconscious of that is going on within us, rooted perhaps in some of these like deep-seated traumas that have resulted in maybe fears that have caused this subconscious programming that causes us to unconsciously or subconsciously react and respond in given situations based on these triggers without us truly even being aware of where they're stemming from. But because we're lacking this awareness, we're sort of operating on this autopilot, and that is what is holding the power over the way that we are navigating our reality. Whereas every time that, we get triggered and we go through this spiral or whatever that is associated with that, it is an opportunity to glimpse some awareness, to like shine some light, or illuminate an aspect of that shadow or a dimension of that darkness in a way that reduces its power and reduces its hold over us. So with great power, they say, comes great responsibility, and there is a tremendous amount of power, especially emotional power, available this weekend. And it's interesting because although we have this crazy conjunction taking place with Mercury and the black moon and the moon all exactly aligned, and Mars just a degree or two out, and a very tight conjunction there, this is also occurring in a grand trine in water signs with Jupiter, which is the planet associated with truth and wisdom and a broadened, expanded perspective and perception and awareness and liberation, freedom. And also Saturn retrograding in the sign of Pisces, and Neptune will be there also, as Neptune, as I told you guys, is re-entering the sign of Pisces as of Wednesday. But Saturn, this is the responsibility, this is the duty, this is the obligation. Like there's a responsibility here to seek the truth with Saturn trining Jupiter in the context of all of this shadow side black moon energy that's being activated. There is actually tremendous power to be gained through our ability to use this information or use these triggers to help us to gain some awareness, to function as a source of illumination into some of our own deeper issues. I'm telling you, like true healing, true solutions, and truly like breaking cycles of suffering even can absolutely go on while we've got this energy coming through. But it is likely to be, very powerful, and it's likely to be very emotional. And we've just got tons and tons and tons of water energy going on Thursday. We're going to have 9 planets in water signs. On Wednesday, we've got 8 planets in water signs. And we also have the exact to the minute Chiron Jupiter square take place on Thursday as well. I've been talking about this aspect for a while now. I was actually wrong about something. Got to make a correction. Jupiter is moving very slow right now because Jupiter is about to station retrograde in November. So Jupiter generally only takes about 5 days to change or to move 1 degree of the zodiac. But because Jupiter is slowing down right now and preparing to retrograde, this Chiron Jupiter square, instead of being present for like about 5 to 6 days, is actually going to linger on for like 2 weeks. And the epicenter, the peak, the exact to the minute square between these two planets occurs on Thursday, October 23rd, while we have the Mercury black moon Mars conjunction with the sun having just entered Scorpio in a square to Pluto in the sign of Aquarius. And not only that, this grand trine in water that is going on with Jupiter in Cancer and Saturn and Neptune in the sign of Pisces. So just to kind of say it again, list them all off for you, our water sign planets on Wednesday and specifically Thursday of this week, because on Thursday the sun enters the sign of Scorpio. So on Wednesday, Neptune enters the sign of Pisces. So the two planets that we have changing signs, Wednesday and Thursday as well, are both entering water signs. So Wednesday, as of Wednesday, we have Neptune, Saturn, the North Node in the sign of Pisces, Mercury, Mars, the Black Moon, and the Moon in the sign of Scorpio, and Jupiter in Cancer. And then on Thursday, we add the Sun in there as well, as the Sun enters the sign of Scorpio. So, and then squares Pluto. And again, like, that is elevating the intensity here. That is just more of this, like, I mean, Pluto's the Lord of the underworld. We have both the Black Moon and the Lord of the underworld. Like, ooh, one of them is being highlighted by the Moon and Mercury and Mars. The other one is in a literal square to the Sun. And then we've got Jupiter in the sign of Cancer, trining, amplifying. Jupiter expands things. So that's why I'm saying, like, this is a very powerful emotional energy here. Can be profound transformation and, like, honestly, like, soul alchemy. There can be some incredibly deep, like, cathartic, like, soul healing, transmutation, transformation that goes on in this energy. Or it could also just be entirely brutal and, you know, very ugly. Okay, so we're kind of that's the spectrum, and we definitely kind of want to lean more into the transformative side of the energy as opposed to the, like, destruction oriented side of the energy. So that is what we've got going on aspect wise this week. Now let's talk about the vibe Wednesday, and then we'll get more specifically into all of the Thursday ongoings. I do want to talk a bit about Neptune's re-entrance into the sign of Pisces, because that's a big deal. It is opening up this window that is only going to be present energetically from now until January, and then we won't have this energy come back around again for another 165 years. So, like, the end of an era is coming through here over this next couple of months, and it's probably going to be, like, pretty apparent, actually. I would think Neptune has been transiting the sign of Pisces since 2011, 2012, and Neptune is also backing back into, of course, the sign of Pisces and coming into a conjunction with Saturn retrograding through the sign of Pisces right now as well, which is narrowing the focus, I think, of the Neptunian presence, the Neptunian energy, the Neptunian impact over this next couple of months. I think that this is going to be about dissolving the last few strings that have really been tethering us to old belief systems, old frameworks of reality, and old spiritual constructs that have literally defined our lives up until this period of time. This is probably going to bring breakdowns in authority, breakdowns in control, tradition, and convention. New and revitalized also, would not be surprised to see it, like, takes on religion and spirituality occurring on kind of like a mass collective level following this last bit of Piscean Neptunian influence that we've got going on over this next period of time. Now, I do think we will probably see lots of scandals among varying authoritative or government or religious organizations or high profile figures. People may be also collectively beginning to lose faith in old stories, old ideals, prophecies, or belief systems, like religions generally, and also things to do with the medical system and pharmaceutical industries. I feel like we're at the verge of some type of new way or transition in the way that we are thinking about medicine and healing generally, because Pisces energy, you know, that has to do with drugs, that has to do with medications, the pharmaceutical industry. The Pisces Virgo axis has a lot to do with medicine and institutions and hospitals and stuff like that. And with Saturn ruling systems and structures and organizations retrograding there, and also as Neptune comes back in and makes that conjunction, I do think that there are going to be breakdowns in like traditional medicine or conventional medicine, or just the like standard protocols and procedures of how we've dealt with health and healing for, kind of historically or for quite a long period of time. Like the modern medicine, the modern Western medicine, I think could be getting some type of overhaul or like just revision or change or something like that. Somehow that starts to maybe like we're likely to see the breakdown of that occur over this next couple of months, and then some type of new innovation or new approach or something like that emerge as Neptune re-enters the sign of Aries and begins like formally and officially the full Neptune Aries transit. I think that this represents a collapse in the belief and governing paradigm also that have been associated really with this larger, greater age of Pisces that we are transitioning out of right now, and those who have managed and maintained and operated and controlled it. We are, of course, going through a shift of ages right now, you guys. Pluto is transiting the sign of Aquarius for 20 years right now as well, which is going to make that much more well known and accepted as we move through this next 20-year period of time. And on the flip side of that, the release from the like overall like ideas and conceptions of like quote unquote like how things need to be done, how they've always been done. Like there's going to be, I think, some type of like straying from that or veering off from that. And again, like this dismantling of not only the like structures and the control systems and the centralization and the way that things have been governed and maintained kind of like historically and up until this period of time, but there's also likely to be shifts in belief systems, perspectives, and like our understanding of truth in regards to the like relevance of those things and whether or not they are even a necessary part of the way that things are developing and unfolding going forward. So I don't know, I just feel like there's this generalized crumbling of the past, but it has a lot to do with shifting and changing belief systems. And it could be, honestly quite rooted in some type of emerging spiritual truths that go on right now as well. I do think that there is likely to be, and I've been talking about this and we'll talk about it more as we get through the report, like there is a spiritual revival that is indicated here, but it's almost like everything else that universe seems to be calling for right now. It seems to be some type of like upgrade or expansion in the understanding of the like actual truth of the matter. There just seems to be some broadening of perspective or some greater conscious or like cosmic truths that like alter the way that we are relating to our own spirituality or to, our belief systems. Really just, I think that there's belief system changes that are coming as we move forward. That is one thing that I feel like this energy is indicating. I think that the Neptune and Aries energy that we are moving towards is going to be more about acknowledging and recognizing actually like the spiritual power within, as opposed to spirituality being like strictly an external force and an external factor that we need to like seek for and search outside of the self. Neptune in the sign of Aries, I do think, is going to somehow like center the spirituality more internally as opposed to externally. And we'll get into all of that, of course, as we move forward into that energy and we start talking about it. But this last couple of months with Neptune and Pisces is, I think, representing a sacred time of revelations. Illusions dissolving, spells being broken, and spiritual truths emerging. This may also bring an end to some type of collective suffering that has been going on or perpetuating for a long period of time. This is a highly, highly spiritually oriented energy, though, kind of any way that you slice it. As I was mentioning in my Libra new moon video, the veil between the worlds right now is like absolutely paper thin. You may find yourself really feeling like you're kind of one foot in one world, one foot in another as we move through this period of time. Otherworldly, highly spiritual experiences are likely to occur during this window, as well as shifts and changes again in the belief systems that have served as governing frameworks of our reality. Mental health issues could be a thing, okay? They could be a bit of a struggle as we do move through this energy. People having a bit of a difficult time maybe keeping a hold of a firm grasp on reality, considering this really kind of like energetic merger of the spiritual and material worlds, the visible and the non-visible. A lot could feel like it's falling apart and unraveling, or falling away, or coming to an end, or being washed away entirely. People may experience a more collective desire also to withdraw from what they would perceive as some type of matrix, or to stop following conventional rules or standards or norms, or to stop molding their lives around cultural or societal conformity or like expectations. This does seem like, I mean, it's a decentralization of things, kind of like across the board. That's what we're moving into. And I've been talking about this for a while. That is, I think one of the preliminary kind of steps in our energetic transition into the age of Aquarius is sort of like this great decentralization of everything essentially that's underway right now. I do think people are going to be like dispersing more as there is kind of like this louder and louder calling to realign with something that feels like genuinely authentic and genuinely purposeful. As opposed to things that are more surface level or like conventionally popular and expected and stuff like that. So we may see trends along those lines as well. Boxes, walls, boundaries, limitations rooted in belief and control are breaking down here, and people may also collectively start to doubt the systems and standards that have governed their lives. This feeling of doubt and like illusions breaking down with Saturn retrograde, with Neptune right there in conjunction, and the end of Pisces retrograde, like authority figures or prominent, even like religious leaders and stuff like that. There are just likely to be questions and like doubts that come up. The search or the yearning for, as I was just mentioning, like something that is of deeper meaning, something that is of more soul resonance and more soul truth. There is a seeking quality here, but it is like seeking to make the external match the meaning that we are arriving at internally. So, death of the facade, as I've been saying, and I was saying this over the last couple of years also, when we had the North Node transiting Aries and the South Node in Libra. I feel like that is a continued trend that is going to emerge more and more as we move through this period of time. Also, as I was mentioning earlier, things to do with the pharmaceuticals or drug industries, revised, reversed, perhaps like dismantled altogether, and definite changes I feel like coming regarding like the treatment and the protocol for like illness and disease and stuff like that. This could also definitely be bringing up themes having to do with oil or pipelines or things deep under the sea or deep under the ocean. This could bring in shipping industries. This could bring in like naval governance and operation and things along those lines, deep sea discoveries and things that have been hidden under the sea or within the water or under the surface of things generally may emerge or may resurface during this last Neptune little transit that we've got going on through this sign of Pisces. And this is, of course, also highly sensitive, very powerfully intuitive, very emotionally tapped in. So definitely an excellent period of time where you want to cultivate and develop your spiritual connection and to make your spiritual practice a priority. Like spiritual breakthroughs and like, you know, just gaining, because remember where this is going, right? I was just talking about how when Neptune re-enters a sign of Aries, I think that we're going to just be more wired and oriented to be able to recognize the spiritual power that we hold within us. And something about this last window period of time right here with Neptune transiting the like final little piece of Pisces as a result of his retrograde could be like merging us with our spirit body or with the divine in a way that introduces that, or that is catalytic to that, or that leads to that as a consequence for one reason or another. Like there could just be some very profound spiritual awakenings or like moments of enlightenment or like spiritual guidance that comes through during this upcoming window period of time, where there's this just very potent spiritual presence that does somehow lead to that shift in the belief, or that like plants that seed within us in a way that it hasn't been before somehow, or that empowers us personally with that spirit of God or higher power or Christ or, you know, universe, or whatever you perceive that divine presence that brings life into our reality and experience to be. There could be some breakthroughs in that regard as we move through this window period. This could also bring themes of surrender and sacrifice and martyrdom, and structure and discipline may be lacking. Remember, like, Saturn is control, Saturn is authority, Saturn is duty, responsibility, obligation, discipline. With Saturn, it's also boundaries and borders. Like, with Saturn retrograding in the sign of Pisces, it really kind of is like a free-for-all. Like, things are just very unstructured, and it is very difficult to like be maybe as disciplined or as like self-controlled or as structured in our lives as we would like to be. Like, this is not energy that is super supportive of us being able to streamline goals into manifestation. This is definitely about some like deeply internalized changes in the way that we're regulating our own emotions and relating to the potentials and the possibilities of what can be. Is reorienting our belief systems. It's reorienting our self-concept. But with especially Neptune now re-entering the sign of Pisces, again, I just think we're kind of back in some fog a bit, or a little bit of like murky water in terms of like actually being able to be very authoritative in terms of our ability to like stay structured and stay on task and stay like implement proper like work ethic that drives us forward towards the successful completion of goals. And if you've been watching my past couple videos, like, I've been talking about how this is actually great manifestation energy, especially with Jupiter also in trine to Saturn. And this is energy that we're going to have ongoing for a while now. But this is not instant gratification. This is not overnight success energy. This is about the long term. This is about the big picture. This is about sticking with it and seeing things through. This is like legacy building energy, but it's not like happening overnight. It's not split second results. This is, you know, needing to endure, needing to be patient, needing to surrender that which is out of our control, needing to maintain the vision, needing to like act our faith, even if the vision has not materialized in front of us yet. It is being able to have faith in what is not currently visible and proceed as though it is, even though maybe we can't really see it. And also like tests of our faith, spiritual tests along those lines in that regard, as a part of this greater process of manifestation that is helping us to lay these new foundations that will carry us long into the future. But I don't know, guys, I think a lot of things may be unraveling here. A lot of people may be unraveling over this next couple of days with it. Now, aside from that, of course, we also have this Scorpio moon going on Wednesday, building into a conjunction with Mercury, Mars, and the Black Moon. That, again, is going to happen on Thursday. The moon will trine the North Node in Pisces on Wednesday. The moon is also preparing to be a part of that grand trine we've got going on with Saturn and Neptune in the sign of Pisces and Jupiter in the sign of Cancer. So things could just feel, again, like highly emotional. People could be going overboard with expressing their fears or their negative thoughts on things. This could be a very like obsessive, compulsive, negative energy. People could have a real hard time like avoiding negative thinking, or the mind just going to kind of like dark places. If you're struggling with that this week, just realize it may kind of just be a symptom of this passing energy, and try not to attach to it or to put too much emotional energy into it. This could also be bringing out excessive passions, though. People could be very lit up, very passionate, and very like on the chase or in the pursuit of that which they want to go after and want to win in this energy. Remember, the black moon in Scorpio really doesn't like to lose. So this is highly competitive energy, and it could be, kind of like jealous and again like obsessive as a result of that. Ugly truths being exposed, and people very likely to be emotionally triggered over this next couple of days, potentially spiraling, potentially losing control. Thursday will be the peak of this potential, but very emotionally driven, I think, all week. This is leaning into the fear-based thinking. As I've mentioned, there's very little reason, very little rationality here, and of course these things could be presenting issues. This could also, though, represent a profound psychic or like spiritual experience or energy that comes through. Maybe some very deep introspection or depth psychology that's kind of like gripping our mind, or that we find ourselves a little bit obsessed about. This could be like really into and fixated on maybe solving some type of mystery or delving into the deep, complex nature of some occult subject or occult topic, something that is hidden, something that is obscure, something that is mysterious, or maybe just like the deeper nature of our own psyche. And though this energy is highlighting the darkness, you guys, as I discussed earlier, it is also illuminating the darkness and bringing through that illumination the light of awareness, which does diminish the power of that darkness and the hold that it has over us and its ability to influence our choices and our decisions and our responses and our reactions. So although it may be a triggering week, it is also about gaining some type of powerful or transformative insight or awareness that can actually help to set us free from maybe some of these issues or perpetuating cycles associated with them that have led us down a certain road or in a certain direction up until this point of time. There is a tremendous opportunity to be liberated from the fears that have limited or controlled us in the past by expanding and opening our mind, shifting our beliefs and perspective, and true healing and growth can come as a result. Remember, Jupiter is the planet of expansion, so Jupiter, in that trine, feeding into that Mars, Mercury, Moon, Black Moon energy could be expanding its influence going on within us. It could be kind of overwhelming us with that energy, but Jupiter is also the light, and it's also the truth, and it's also wisdom, and it's also freedom, and it's also awareness, and it's also gifts, and it's also blessings. And Jupiter is exactly square Chiron on Thursday while that's happening as well. So to the same extent that we could find ourselves kind of maybe like fully immersed in the darkness, we also have the ability to truly release ourselves from that same energy. But it can be a quiet and probably is going to be a rather raw day. Raw emotions, sensitive emotions for sure, I would say. Going on Wednesday, let's talk about Thursday now. Again, this is when the floodgates really get opened as the sun enters a water sign as well, enters the sign of Scorpio, immediately squares Pluto, bringing in that intensity, bringing in those power struggles, powerful confrontations, this push and pull that is going on with something coming up against some type of powerful force. Pluto is also the lord of the underworld. That's what I'm saying. Like, all this black moon. Thursday, we have the sun squaring Pluto, the sun in Scorpio squaring Pluto, and Mercury, black moon, and Mars all aligned in the sign of Scorpio as well. Like, this is people unleashing their demons, okay? Like, this is the battle within. This is the devil and the angel on the shoulder, and like that little devil showing everything that he's got perhaps on Thursday. We've got 9. We're gonna have 9 important planets or points in water signs, as I already listed off to you guys earlier, and everything associated with watery language or expression is likely to be relevant as well, or emphasized overflows of feelings, emotions, or like actual water or liquid outpourings, downpours, flooding, things flooding the field, tidal waves of sentiment and emotion, tsunamis of feelings, emotional immersion, drowning in feelings or emotions, actual water spillage, even the cup runneth over, like outpourings maybe in a very passionate or positive way could be going on as well. So you get the picture on that. This could be a day also where there's like not a dry eye in the crowd, or people are very emotionally moved or emotionally expressive about something. And we're talking about Mercury. That is what we're thinking about, talking about, and mentally focused on with the moon there as well. That is how we're feeling. Whenever we've got Mercury and the moon together, that is the primary time when people are likely to be expressing feelings, talking about their feelings, not holding anything back, okay? And then when we put the black moon there also and in the sign of Scorpio with Mars, people could be honestly almost like aggressively or assertively or passionately inundated with, or just like overflowing with verbalizing their feelings, okay? And also fears, and also insecurities, and also grievances, and of course also desires, passions running super high on Thursday, people seeking to act on and express also what is motivating them. And then also with the sun squaring Pluto, like not willing to budge, okay? Everybody's fixed in here. Everybody's dug in. Like, you do not want to be going like head to head with anybody. I don't really think about anyone about anything really in this energy. Nobody wins in a scenario like this. Everybody may just sort of be out for like blood, or trying to feel powerful by like asserting themselves, or feeling like they're dominating out of some type of fear of loss or insecurity that's coming through with this black moon energy projection, right? People being triggered and turning hyper competitive and just honestly kind of like ruthless in their actions or their verbalizations or their demeanor generally. Super, super stubborn, you guys. Sun square Pluto in fixed signs, Mars and Mercury and the moon and the black moon in Scorpio, fixed signs trine Jupiter, like just blowing it all up, expanding it all. Just straight up, this could even be kind of just like straight up cruel in some cases because of the extent of this underworld energy that is like dug in and present, and the like subconscious expression of this as well. Like, again, losing control. There's not rational thought that is going into this. It is literally like pure, raw, like animalistic instinct or emotion that is coming through and coming out, and that, you know, people are just kind of like acting on or responding with. So I would say if you've got an option, like maybe just not getting into it with people, especially people who already might have a tendency of being a bit irrational or having a hard time controlling themselves or controlling their temper, because there's just like very little chill here. And I do think a lot of people are going to be just like losing their cool, losing their control. Much greater than average likelihood that people are just reacting to things from their darker side. So you could find out who someone really is or what someone is truly capable of in energy like this. I think, as I've said, you know, these ugly truths are likely to surface or to be exposed. A lot of toxicity could also be released with this. And while on one hand, you know, as I have mentioned, the better way to use this energy is in the context of some type of personal transformation. On the other hand, this can be quite self-destructive and destructive generally. So make sure you maintain an awareness of that. Try to do your best also to hold on to a level of compassion, empathy, understanding for others this week, not to your own demise, of course, but people are probably just really going to be going through it in ways that they are having a hard time rationalizing or containing. And this is also a very, very self-centered, both mental and emotional attitude here, because we've got Mars. Mars is the self. Mars is wrapped all up in this Mercury energy. Like, this is the ego, very, very much identified with, like, the ideas that we're having, or the behaviors that, like, I don't even think necessarily in this energy, even if people are like acting in real ugly ways and like doing stuff they shouldn't be doing, I do think with the Jupiterian trine, like, a lot of people are in the moment going to actually feel justified in it and entitled to do it, because they are going to perceive themselves as being under attack for some reason, even if it's literally just a subconscious response to some type of emotional trigger. So I don't think that there's going to be a whole lot of remorse for the stuff that may take place in this energy in the moment. Now, as we move through time and, kind of reflect back on that, that is likely to change. But for now, with all of this intense Scorpio energy and the sun squaring Pluto also, I do think that there's not going to be, again, like a whole lot of rationalizing with people. So I wouldn't waste your time and energy using your words to, try to get someone to see it your way, maybe necessarily in the energy of Wednesday and maybe specifically Thursday this week. But the more, again, like compassion and understanding and empathy that we can personally maintain, that may help you to not get sucked down to the same extent in that emotional volatility and turmoil that can be just like spinning around like thunderstorms and tornadoes out there. But abuse, you guys, violence, rage, verbal conflict, crimes of passion, jealousy, vengeance, retaliation, highly uncontrolled emotional reactions based in fear and projection are indicated to me with this. People's shadow sides are going to be triggered and causing them to lash out. So, not the day to challenge people or to poke their wounds, as I continue to insist. But we can go back and look at it the other way. Yet again, this is powerfully creative, powerfully transformative. If we use it to heal and transform and grow and are ready to surrender suffering and let go of states of victimhood and release the past, you're going to make some huge, huge gains. This is truly like a soul evolution can go on in energy like this if we are able to work with it in that regard. Be stubborn and determined to heal and break the cycle, not to seek vengeance, not to seek retaliation, not to get back at somebody or, feel like you need to assert your power or dominance over a situation. While that may feel satisfying and like the answer in the moment, while you may feel totally justified in doing that in the moment, it will be perpetuating the cycle of suffering, not breaking it. And that is really what this energy is about. It's about being released from suffering through wisdom and sacrifice, not perpetuating it and persisting it through having to have the last word and failing ultimately to learn the lesson that this time is presenting. So, could be a week where, again, like things feel like they're kind of coming unglued, coming unraveled, overwhelming. You could feel inundated all of a sudden with maybe some of these like deep things that are rising up and like emerging within your like consciousness or your psyche for some reason. But we do have additional guidance coming through here, and that is to maintain the faith, you guys. Jupiter in the trine. Jupiter is faith. Jupiter is trust. Jupiter is wisdom. Jupiter is hope. Jupiter is optimism. Jupiter is belief. Jupiter is also gifts and blessings. Like, faith is the gift. Faith is the blessing. Jupiter's in the sign of Cancer. This is the comfort and security. It only like the only true source of comfort and security while we go through this energy, I feel like, is in maintaining our faith and our relationship and cultivating that connection to a higher power. So again, true spiritual breakthroughs can also occur as a dimension or component of this as well. Saturn retrograding in the sign of Pisces with now Neptune, surrendering the burden to a higher power, trusting the process of transformation, transmutation, alchemy, and soul growth that is underway. Jupiter also exactly squaring Chiron on Thursday, while we have that grand trine in water, 9 planets in water signs, the sun squaring Pluto. We are able to alchemize our pain into power with this, our knowledge into wisdom, into truth, into freedom, if only we can frame the experience the right way right now and make choices that help us to take our power back, as opposed to allowing these powerful urges, maybe emotional urges rising within, to be in control and maintain and hold power over us. We also have quite a bit of symbolism going on in the context of our planetary placements for Thursday, which I feel like are very much aligned to the general nature of our aspects and planetary positioning this week. We have Jupiter and Chiron in that exact square at some interesting degrees. I talked about this in my last video. Jupiter right now is at 25 degrees of Cancer. That Sabian symbol is a leader of men wrapped in an invisible mantle of power, which has so much to do, I feel like, with the nature of our energetic blueprint coming through right now. And then we've also got Chiron at 25 degrees of Aries. That Sabian symbol is a double promise, reveals its inner and outer meanings. So revelations and understandings, and like seeing the whole picture, like the like both sides of the story, gaining an understanding for the depth of something and also for the broadened and expansive viewpoint and perspective, and the power of the unseen being felt or being made known somehow, and the position of leadership that then puts us in navigating and, you know, conducting and commanding our own experience moving forward, as opposed to being at the whim of these powerful subconscious influences that we are unaware of, rooted in trauma, that translate into subconscious programming, that determine our choices and decisions based on the powerful emotional influence they have over us. You see the difference there? It's like, and that's what this black moon energy, you know, despite its more challenging nature, can do for us. It makes or gives us an opportunity to make the unknown known, and through that process of coming to understand what we didn't know, we now have the power to consciously choose that which was once unconsciously chosen for us. So I feel like that square happening at those degrees is like just another powerful feature of our overall energy blueprint that's playing out right now. We also have the position of Venus at 12 degrees of Libra on Thursday. That Sabian symbol is miners emerging from a deep coal mine. The underworld, yet again, being represented through the placement of Venus, coming up from the depths into the light with something of value that we gained through that journey or through that voyage, or in the process, what did we mine out of those depths, and what value does it represent? Venus. We've got Mars at 22 Scorpio. That Sabian symbol is hunters protected by heavy clothing are shooting wild ducks. Again, like these themes of like the hunted and the hunter may be relevant with this specific extent of Pluto and Scorpio and black moon energy. As we have this week, we also have the sun at 1 degree of Scorpio. That Sabian symbol is a sightseeing bus filled with tourists, going places we've never gone before, seeing things we've never seen, gaining awarenesses that we have not held up until this point in time. So learning something new perhaps. And then of course we have Mercury, and we have the black moon, and we have the moon all aligning at 24 degrees of Scorpio. That Sabian symbol is crowds coming down the mountain to listen to one inspired man, while we also have the north node of the moon right now at In a huge tent, a famous revivalist conducts his meeting with a spectacular performance. And on the south node, at two girls playing with an Ouija board. So we've got three symbols that are specifically talking about this powerful spiritual influence. We have, that conjunction, Black Moon, Moon, and Mercury, that it 24 degrees, like crowds coming down the mountain to listen to one inspired man, that is a spiritual revival. That's like the Sermon on the Mount. That is a mass connection in a very inspired way from the one to the many, or just generally to a higher power. And then the revivalist as well, talking about reviving and inspiring a greater connection and cohesion with the spiritual world and with a higher power. And then the two girls playing with the Ouija board, that is also seeking spiritual guidance and spiritual assistance and direct connection to the spiritual world, reaching into the invisible and pulling out something that can be of benefit to us in our physical material 3D reality. And then Jupiter just being in the sign of Cancer right now as well, telling you, place faith and trust and seek comfort in and from a higher power. And that is the best way, I think, to set ourselves up for success and to receive the greatest amount of blessings and wisdom possible as we move through this perhaps a bit emotionally turbulent couple of days here. So that's what I have to say about the astrology today, you guys. That is how I am perceiving things, as perhaps playing out as a result of these energetic configurations that we've got going on out there. We're going to talk about the tarot for a minute now. Okay, we've got a message here that is talking about the need to release something, to let something go that we've been holding on to, that we've been maintaining, or that we have defined ourselves by, or that we have been refusing to let go of for some reason for perhaps a very long period of time, that we've been very fixated or stuck on. There's a need to let something go. But there does appear to be like a victory over circumstance, or more so like a victory over the negative faculties of our own mind that is being indicated. And also the need to like have the strength to maintain, to persevere in the face of challenge, in the face of difficulty, if we find ourselves at a point where we've like made a realization or come to some conclusion that it's time to move on, or to go in some new direction, or to try something new, or to branch out somehow. So when we put it all together, like, I feel like this is saying you may find yourself at a point this week where you realize that you need to let go of something. And if that's the case, don't allow other people's like fears or negativity or the challenges that they may present to kind of like talk you out of it. There is like with this 6 of Wands here and also this 5 of Wands here, it's telling me that like there could be like a lot of negativity, a lot of negative thinking, or a lot of like negative words or pessimistic attitudes maybe about what it is that we want to like undertake, or what we're thinking about doing, or the changes that we're thinking about making in this energy. Like, okay, you're going to let go of what you've always had, or what you've always held, or who you've always been, or what you've always associated with, or, just what you've always been attached to, but you don't even necessarily have a clear plan of where you're going. And there could just be a lot of contradictory opinions, or, fears and stuff that are coming up that you might find yourself having to fight against, or feel like you need to like beat down or beat back or conquer somehow. But this is saying victory over circumstance, and specifically victory over fears, and victory over doubts, and victory over the negative thought patterns or self-talk or voices that may seek to prevent us from doing it's the 3 of Wands. It's not the 2 of Wands, it's the 3 of Wands, which is about this planning phase. This is about bringing the pieces together and planning the next phase of the journey, where we're going to go, what we're going to do, what it's going to look like, how we're going to bring the vision to life. With the Six of Wands over the 9 and the 10 of Swords in reverse. This is like the negativity from like the chatter in our own mind, or even the peanut gallery. As long as we're willing to, with the Strength card here, stand our ground, be firm in what we want, be determined in the vision and in the plan and in the knowing that we can make a change, that we can do something different, believing in ourselves, like that is what is needed right now in order to have victory over circumstance. And, you know, while we may feel like we have to be on guard or on the defense, or there could be a lot of things kind of like fighting or working against us, it is the strength right here. It is like our loyalty to our own selves and to the possibilities of what could be. If we are able to release maybe some of these things that we've been defined by or that we've been holding on to so tightly, that is going to help us find success and victory and, again, like persevere, overcome like these challenges that may be presenting. So there could be a lot of mental challenges that are presenting here. Again, a lot of like fears that may be shaking us, but the Strength card, you know, have strength, believe in yourself, be determined in the context of knowing that you are capable of doing and going and being and becoming whatever is aligned with the vision that is like clear in your heart and soul right now. So that's what I have to say about the tarot cards today, you guys. We are going to get one more piece of guidance or advice from God, Great Spirit, Universe. I am asking for a synchronicity card. This is just going to be a piece of guidance. It's right here too, a piece of advice. It says you can only change yourself. So this is what we need to know. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father, which is in heaven. Matthew 5:16. Be an example for others. You cannot change others' behavior any other way except to show by good example what sort of things a good life can bring one. Forgive them for their failures, forgive them for their words, love them, and by your example, show them the way. This is the only way except to pray for them to know and to follow your example. So, as I was saying earlier, you guys, proceeding through life with the understanding that a lot of people are just really going to be struggling this week, and not allowing ourselves to get pulled into that emotional drama, trying to maintain the bigger picture, trying to practice empathy and compassion and understanding where we can, not engaging in behaviors and words and activities that are going to trigger other people into having these responses, and through our example, maybe having a bit of a positive ripple in the world and like helping to weight more heavily the transformative side of this energy through our example and the impact that that has on others, as opposed to, again, the destructive potential for this energy as well. So there it is, you guys. You can only change yourself. Message from the cards, message from the stars. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, you guys. Share it with your friends if you think that they would enjoy or benefit from this type of astrology content as well. Leave me comments. Let me know what's going on with you guys out there. That is super valuable information to me. I'm so grateful for your presence on my channel. Thank you guys so much for being here. Love you so much. If you want to know what is on this whiteboard, I have a Facebook group where I post images of those boards linked in my description box below. That's where you can find it if you want to see what that board says in its entirety. And come back with me on Friday, you guys. We got more astrology we're going to be getting into. We got a few more things going on this week, and I will be back to talk all about it. So you don't want to miss it. I'll see you next time, guys. Have a beautiful midpoint of your week. And until then, bye.